What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Classic Octane. I am Taylor. I hope you guys are having a good Labor Day weekend. Today is actually Labor Day itself. So I'm taking the day to work on my own bike again. So this is the KZ750 you guys saw last week that we have been diagnosing a problem where a cylinder drops out once the bike gets really warm. So we were hoping, to get away with just a carb clean. Maybe we just got some junk in there and it was clogging up a jet. That ended up not being the case. So the next logical thing to go after was the coil. So my new coil is in. Just went with a plug and play replacement. Very inexpensive, hopefully not too inexpensive. I looked all over the place and it was either these coils, which I think was about $25, $29, something like that, or the next step above that was like a full Dyna coil, which are $150 or so dollars. So I figured, hey, for 25 bucks, I'll be the guinea pig. We'll see if this coil works. If we end up having issues with it, we can upgrade in the future or whatever. But for it being plug and play and delivered to my house in a couple of days, it's worth a shot. So most of this video is probably going to be more moto vlog style because this bike only develops the problem after half an hour or 45 minutes of riding. So I need to actually go out and put some miles on it so that we can test if this fixes our problem. So this coil is a direct bolt in, super simple, just 2 wires and basically 4 bolts. Some people are asking why I didn't take a voltmeter and actually test the original coil in the last video. And the reason for that is because the old coil was only showing issues when it was hot. Like I said, the bike needs to be 30, 45 minutes down the road before it starts to show the issue. So just testing that coil when it's cold is going to show that it's fine because it operated just fine when it's hot. So you could argue that I could, hook up a voltmeter and then take a heat gun, heat the coil up, nice and warm and see if the issue kind of pops up then. Yes, I could have done that, but knowing that that coil is 40 plus years old, it's just good peace of mind for 25 or 30 bucks to go ahead and replace it. So that's why I didn't bother testing it. Again, it would have just tested fine until it's heated up. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook these last 2 wires up. We'll put the tank on, put the seat on, fire this thing up, and then go take it for a ride. All button back up. Let's see how she does on a cold start. I am almost out of fuel, so that's going to be the first stop we make when we're out there, but I want to see how she does. Put a key in it. How much fuel we're even getting down there. Let's see. Sweet, let's unhook it. Take this thing for a spin. Just filled up. Now we ride and we see if we develop any issues. I don't really want to go just yet on the full ride I did last weekend, just because if we do have problems, it was a little bit sketchy to get home only running on 1 cylinder. So I'm going to kind of stay on some back roads that aren't too terribly far from my house and just kind of keep doing loops and back and forths and just try and ride at least as long as we did last weekend, but without getting too far away, just in case we still got issues. But
so far, you know, unsurprisingly, it runs great because it's still pretty cold. So I'll take you guys along for the ride and we'll see how she do. So I figure now is as good a time as any to kind of update you guys on some content that's coming in the future. In my last, I guess we'll call it a moto vlog, I mentioned getting an adventure bike, and I did actually go ahead and pull the trigger on one. And my thought process was, you know, kind of reading through a lot of your comments, a lot of you guys wanted to see me do adventure content on a classic bike, and then a lot of you were interested in seeing me, you know, mess around with a more modern bike. So what I did is I picked up a more modern bike. It's nothing too modern, you know. I think it would be too drastic of a change if I just went out and bought like a, you know, brand new BMW 800 GS or something like that. Just is a little bit too far away from the content I've been making the last couple of years. We may get to that point in the future, but what I decided to do is pick up a bike that still has a kind of vintage feel, but is decades newer than anything else I have or ride. And I feel like it's going to be a good opportunity for us to make like a comparison content. You know, we can do a long adventure ride on a more modern bike, and then we can do the same adventure ride on like this bike or something similar to this, and kind of compare the two. You know, what are the pros and cons of a more modern, what are the pros and cons of a classic bike, you know, what kind of problems we may or may not run into on each, and should be pretty interesting. So you guys will see the reveal of my modern adventure bike probably later this week. I'm going to do kind of a mini series on it of, you know, buying it, what I looked for, why I selected the bike I did, and then getting it kind of road ready, going through maintenance items, how I'm going to prepare it to be able to do off-road and everything. And then we'll do another little series on probably gear for adventure riding. You know, like I'm going to put together kind of like a toolkit and that kind of stuff just to have, just because it's something I need to do anyway, and I feel like I will just bring you guys along and hopefully you'll enjoy that kind of content. So you guys will see that a little bit later this week, and then in the future we'll see both vintage adventure riding and modern adventure riding, and you guys can kind of determine for yourself which one you like and which one may or may not apply to you guys. But I'm really looking forward to kind of focusing more on content creation coming up pretty soon. I'm probably going to slow down on some of the customer builds once I'm through the backlog I have now, because ultimately I want to be able to just have fun with motorcycles and kind of bring you guys along and have that be, you know, the majority of my income and content on the channel and stuff as well. So I want to get back into, you know, Will It Run Wednesdays and all kinds of cool stuff like that. I had the opportunity to buy a really cool project this past weekend. But it was actually for sale at the exact same time as the bike I was going to look at. I had already, you know, kind of was on the way to buy the adventure bike, and by the time I was done with that whole transaction, the project was already sold. But it was a vintage race car. It was like a mid-60s like SCCA race car, but it was powered by a Honda CB750 engine. I thought it could be really cool for us to like buy that, get it running, like take it to some races and stuff, but unfortunately it didn't work out. But that's the kind of content I want to get into in the future, is just some like really unique, you know, mostly gonna kind of continue around classic bikes, but kind of bring in some content that I've never seen online before, and I don't know, just have some fun bringing you guys along. But so far the bike's running exactly like I would expect it to, but it hasn't quite been as long as it was last weekend. So I'm gonna keep riding. I'll make a couple loops. I'll keep you guys up to date on how it's going. Well, small change of plans. Just going down this back road. Just discovered this little line trail for the power company. Why have a scrambler if you're not going to take it off-road, you know? get a skid plate before I do too much of this stuff. But, oh, that was it. Fun little scrambler teaser. Now I gotta figure out where the heck I am. Let's go this way. So going through that little off-road section, obviously that was nothing, you know, it got a crazy off-road or anything, but it really shines a lot on the fact that I have not done a ton of dirt riding. I'm not a rider that grew up riding dirt bikes or anything, so I have very, very minimal dirt riding experience. So that's something that also led me down the path of wanting to get a cheaper adventure bike. So the adventure bike I got is a very affordable bike that's already got some scratches and dents, and like people have had some fun on this bike because there's a really good chance that I'm gonna end up crashing it into something or laying it over off-road, or you know, pretty much any adventure bike is going to be on its side at some point. And I figured, me being a more novice dirt rider, you know, going out and getting a $7,000-8,000, you know, Triumph Tiger or something like I was originally thinking is going to be a little bit more sad if I lay that thing over. So I'll go more into detail on why I chose the bike I did in that video, but I figured since I just went on some dirt, it was a good time to talk about it with you guys. But let's see how our power is on this thing. Bad. Gets up to 70, and for a 42-year-old motorcycle, this is a damn good one. Still just cranking along, no issues to report other than my little off-road adventure. I had a casualty. I no longer have a right side mirror. Not sure at what point that came off. It was starting to get loose before that, and I just mistakenly didn't tighten it, and now she's gone, so we'll have to replace that. But I wanted to ask you guys about riding gear. So right now I have a Joe Rocket jacket that is nice, but it is hot. We're only in the maybe mid 80s today, which for Texas is pretty cool at this time of year. But I wanted to see if there's like a good riding jacket that's a little bit more breathable. This is like a heavy leather, so I want something that's obviously still safe and, you know, is a good quality riding jacket, but it's a little bit more breathable, something I can ride a little bit longer during, you know, warm summer days without just getting roasted. So if you guys don't mind, if you could drop some comments below on the kind of gear that you have, you know, if you have some experience with some jackets. And I also am thinking about getting a new helmet as well. This one's not bad. It's a Biltwell Gringo with a guard on the front, but if I'm going to be riding a bike for, you know, a week and like multiple hours a day, I'm thinking about getting something a little bit more high-end, I guess, and trying to figure out something that's going to last me a nice long time. It's going to be comfortable, good wind resistance, you know, just a really good all-around helmet. So I'd love if you guys could shoot me some recommendations on that as well. Well, we're probably, I don't know, somewhere around 45 minutes to an hour into the ride. So far, she's happily thumping along on 2 cylinders. No hiccups, nothing so far. I mean, I don't know what other phrases I can say to try and jinx myself into it having trouble. I don't know if you guys watched that last video, but it was like 40 seconds after I made a clip saying, oh, everything's going great, and then it all of a sudden was like troubles. So far, thumbs up. I'm gonna keep riding because I really want to like just know that it's fixed and good to go, because that buddy that I had in the last video and I are planning some longer trips, and you know, some of them I'm going to take the newer bike, but some of them I want to take this, and I want to know the bike's as sorted as it can be before we start out, for obvious reasons. But I mean, this isn't a bad test route. I love living so close to the Texas Hill Country. I just like turn out of my neighborhood, and less than 5 minutes I'm 2-lane back roads in the hills. So no complaints from me. I'm gonna keep riding until I get too hot, I get bored, or I run into trouble. Discovered a little gravel. I've been dying to find some nice little gravel roads to kick the tail end out, wrap around a little bit. This one's not very long by the looks of it. Wah, wah. Sad. If you guys live in the Central Texas area and know of some fun gravel roads, let me know. I'm dying to go have some fun. That was a gate, but the gate was open. Do we or do we not explore? I don't know. That looked pretty private property-esque. I don't think we should do it. Pretty sad when the best scrambling around is in my own yard. But very happy to report that this thing is running like a champ. Absolute beast. So I put, I don't know how long it's been, well over an hour, probably an hour and a half of riding on it on a very warm day. Not being nice to it, you know, full throttle pull, sliding around in the dirt, and not a single hiccup. So that at least gives me the confidence to, you know, I think what makes the most sense is me to go on that exact same ride I went on the last 2 times I went on that ride. It had an issue almost exactly at the same point. So I want to make that trip again. I'm not gonna have the time today, but we're gonna make that trip again, and that's when I'll put the official stamp of fixed on it. But I mean, I don't have any reason to think it's going to have any issues. It's performing flawlessly. Back in its parking spot, it's a good feeling knowing I can just jump right back on it, turn the key, and ride. It's very sad when you don't have any bikes that are fully operational and you miss out on going out and having fun or a nice morning or something because your bikes are down. So I got to make sure from now on I have at least one bike that's in good operational condition that I can just jump on and go blast around and do some stress relief and have some fun. So right now I have this one. I just put the new adventure bike on the back lift. Oh, you thought I was just going to reveal it like that? Nah, I got to leave you guys on a cliffhanger. That'll be later this week. I'm going to attempt to have some sort of a schedule going forward with videos. I'm thinking like Tuesday, Thursday, maybe Tuesday, Friday. You know, the Tuesday video can be kind of whatever I got up to over the weekend, and then the Friday video is like maybe a combination of what I did over the week. I don't know, we'll have to play around with the schedule, but I'd like to get to the point of doing at least 2 videos a week for you guys. So later this week will be the reveal of the new modern adventure bike. This is also a bike that I want to have fully operational, ready to jump on. This is my early 70s, I think it's like a 71 or 72 CB500 that we did like 99% of a restoration on, and then got swamped with customer bikes and haven't touched it since. So it's very, very close. It's like one video, probably a day's worth of work or less, and this thing should be on the road. So I'd like to go ahead and get that thing insured and plates on it, so that can be a bike we can just jump on. This is going to be a really fun, just like back road hill country cruiser. It's almost entirely original, so it should be very comfortable to ride. Should be like a time capsule. So that's going to be exciting because, believe it or not, I've owned like
20 plus 500s and 550s. I've never actually owned one this close to original, and I've never ridden one on the street that was close to original either. I've only ridden customs, so it'll be a cool thing to see. Well, that's where I'm gonna call it on this one, guys. I appreciate you coming along for this video. That was kind of a small amount of work, and then a bunch of riding footage. I know a lot of you guys end up enjoying the moto vlogs, so hopefully you enjoyed this one. The next video is going to be in the shop of the reveal for the new adventure bike, which is a pretty exciting little series I'm going to work on. After that, we have an M unit video coming that's going to be just a little bit different than the M unit video I put out last week. I'm not going to do a full step-by-step install because a lot of the stuff applies to both builds. I'm just going to highlight the differences between the two. Then we have an overview video of that project, and then we have like 4 more customer bikes to get to after that, which I'm pretty excited to show you guys. So I'm gonna take you guys along the way. I appreciate you watching as always. It means a lot to me, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.